What's going on, guys? I'm Zach from the Lumios Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we will be talking about my nitpickiest wants for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. So, what I mean by nitpickiest wants is, you know how there are these small things in a Pokemon game that, really don't matter? I think the best example is the shining of badges in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and Platinum and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. It is a small thing, but it is such an adored thing by the fans. That's the level that I'm talking about today. I'm talking about the things that aren't huge, like Mega Evolution returning or a Pokemon inspired by this or that. I'm talking about tiny things that at the end of the day won't really affect the games, but would certainly make my experience all the better. So I think I'm going to start with the biggest one. This one is one that I see a lot of people complain about or a lot of people ask for. So I think it's not as nitpicky as the others on this list. But I want to see flying Pokemon fixed. Now, most of you instantly know what I'm talking about. There are some Pokemon that are coded into the game that just have awful sprites like Swellow and Salamence, where they're kind of just sitting there gliding and aren't, on the ground or aren't even flapping their wings to stay in flight. They're just levitating, really. And it kind of looks ridiculous, especially when we have games on the scale of Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet. Now, the reason this was done was back in X and Y, when they were making these sprites, there were sky battles, and so they wanted to depict the Pokemon that could be in these sky battles as flying and in the air. Otherwise, it looked like they're standing on the sky, which isn't possible. So, I get why they did it. I don't get why it's still here, since we haven't seen sky battles since Generation 6. And I really hope they fix it. And I feel kind of good about this one, because if you look at Legends Arceus, there are some Pokemon, for example, Hisuian Decidueye, where if you send him out into battle, normally he will be standing there. However, if you send him out in battle, or just out of his Pokeball, over water, he actually will fly above the water. And he's flapping his wings, he's not levitating or anything. So, hopefully, they will take this route with other Pokemon that have kind of been stuck with these awful sprite animations. Hopefully they get fixed. Okay, so the next thing is going to be home compatibility on day one. So we all went through this nightmare with Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus, where, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl was released in November of last year, and we only got home compatibility for it in May. So yeah, it was a long time, a really long time, over 6 months before we got Pokemon Home for Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. And then for Legends Arceus, it was another 4 months, but, it still was a long time. And we typically see with a new generation, it doesn't come out, the home compatibility, or back in the day it was Bank, doesn't come out until about 2 months after the game's release, or longer. And I'm sick of it. I don't see a reason for it. I think they should make it available on day one. It's another company that has made Home. It's Ilko that made Home. So if GameFreak's working on Scarlet and Violet, I don't see why that would impact their ability to make Home. But I really want to see Home come up on day one. That way you just have the option to go ahead and play with those Hisuian forms and new Hisuian Pokemon that you were able to just get in Legends Arceus, and be able to go ahead and bring in your older team. And it gives people the option to, in their very first playthrough, use a Pokemon that maybe they've had for a while, or it's a shiny Pokemon that they've been wanting to use, or something like that. I think that would be really nice to do. And like I said, it's a small thing. It won't really affect how good the games are, but it certainly would add to the experience. So the next thing is, I want wild Pokemon to interact with their environments. In the Sword and Shield wild area, Pokemon would just kind of stand there or kind of walk around. They weren't really doing anything. Then in Legends Arceus, it started to get a little bit better. they did seem to kind of interact with other Pokemon and, of course, with the player a lot. Like, minor things like if you were injured when a Blissey was nearby, it will run over to try and heal you. And just little things like that are just so impressive. But I want to see that with the environment. Like, what I'm saying is I want to see Pachirisus and Greedents running up trees and back down and trying to, hoard berries or whatever. I want to see things like in Isle of Armor, we could see an Emolga gliding between trees. I want to see things like that. And just, on the scale that it can be for Scarlet and Violet. Again, small thing, but it would go a long way. Now, the last thing I would want would be for you to be forced to backtrack. And this is open world, so I guess there really kind of is no backtracking. But I mean, I don't want to have to one and done cities or environments, locations, whatever. I hope that you do kind of have to revisit an area, and you can't just go through it the one time and be done with it. You see this a lot, especially in older games. You visit Lumio City a decent bit in Pokemon X and Y, and you have to go through Hearthome a decent bit in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, or Diamond Pearl Platinum. And I just hope that they do that again for these games. I hope that they do that. I really think it would be fun to force us to have to backtrack in an open world game, because like you're being forced to just really explore the areas and more than once at that, because as expansive as this region looks, I'm sure each time you go back, you'll discover something new about the place, or you'll discover different Pokemon, because I'm sure they'll vary by time of day and weather like they have in the past. It's a really small thing, I admit, but it's something that I feel like is very immersive and very realistic. If you were genuinely traveling around, everything wouldn't be in just the next town. Sometimes it'd be like, hey, there's this thing you need. It's actually in the town that you visited 2 towns ago. Things like that. It makes sense. It's logical. And it is a small thing that just adds to the immersion of it. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are just a few nitpicky wants of mine for Scarlet and Violet. If Scarlet and Violet doesn't have these things, they won't be bad games, but I think it would make these games insanely better if they did. It's only brownie points for GameFreak. Well, maybe except for the flying thing. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what your nitpickiest wants for these games are. And be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, because we do talk about all things Pokemon here. That, of course, includes Scarlet and Violet. Till next time, I will see all of you later.